All right, so can you see the captions happening? Yeah, good, okay. All right, so welcome everybody to session 2 of CHCMHS011, Assess and Promote Wellbeing. Let's have a look at tonight what's happening. So we're looking at overcoming barriers, motivational interviewing, isolation and the impacts on mental health, helping clients to understand social networks, assisting the search for professional advice, ways to engage with social well-being, recovery-oriented practice, and we look at some of the legal and ethical considerations for well-being. So to do acknowledgement of country, in the spirit of reconciliation, Hayter Institute of Education acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first inhabitants of this nation and the traditional custodians of the land on which we work, live and study. We express our gratitude for the sharing of this land, our sorrow for the personal, spiritual and cultural costs of that sharing, and hope that we may move forward together in harmony and the spirit of healing. We pay our respects to all First Nations people and acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. Just welcome everyone. We have a new student with us tonight, Ayan. So welcome, Ayan. With class, we have our cameras on and we leave our microphones off. And we use our hand emoji to ask questions, Ayan, which is down in the reactions button down the bottom of your screen. Class times, we have 7 and 8 p.m. where we have a 10-minute break. We actually might even turn that into a 20-minute one in the middle tonight. Change it up a bit. We make sure that we have respectful relationships. It's about being mindful about how we're speaking to each other, how we're listening with intent. Be careful around sharing personal information, and we always remember that we're here as learners and that we're learning to work in the industry. So that's about being non-judgmental and being open to difference. So no smoking or vaping on screen. If you need to, please turn your screen off. And be kind to yourself. Make sure you take some time out for your health during the week. Some of the content might stir emotions or feelings in you. Don't forget to reach out for support. Reach out to friends or family and talk to them. The Lifeline 131114. And often too, turn your screen off and just listen if you want to pull back for a little bit or just rest. You're the adult learners. You get to control how that looks. So let's get into overcoming barriers to change. I don't think I know too many people that haven't struggled with change in all different types of ways. And change can be confronting, confusing, upsetting, and barriers to change can also cause stigma as well, and for others, people to judge as well. When we think about change, what does that mean to you? How do you cope with change? What are your strategies that you would be able to use to help somebody else with a change? So could be a change of situation, personal relationship, could be a change in health, could be a change in financial changes, job changes, environmental changes. How do you deal with change? And how do you validate somebody's feelings around those? How do you normalize those? So we're going to go into breakout rooms for this. Breakout rooms also catch up with everybody. We're going to spend 10 minutes there. I want somebody to be able to bring back an outline of identifying your understanding of what change is and strategies you use to manage change, and what could be a barrier to accepting change, because we often can put up the barriers much more quickly than trying to manage the change itself, the problem of the change itself. So what are some of the barriers that can be created as well? Let me just press stop share there. How do we deal with change? What are some of the things that are hard about change?
So you've got things like environmental and situational changes.
Yeah.
So we have time management.
Ah, yes.
And good routine.
Yeah.
Time management. Wow. That is good. Hang on, I'll just get this right now. I can do it.
Sorry, I've got a really bad itchy foot.
I'll pass it over here. I'll scratch that for you.
It's all right, I'm using a fork because I can't
That
move.
means money.
Yeah, and not that I'm
Get
into
an itchy
scratching.
foot.
Into scratching feet. Don't take that the wrong way.
Focus back here, people. Time management, environmental changes. What was the other one?
Situational and
Right,
good routine.
Okay. Now, what was some of the barriers that came out of that?
Age, location, relationships, finance.
Also you had biological, so like body clock. So if you're working night shift for the first time.
Yep. Sorry, Mark, there was a few more that you...
Yeah. So age, location, relationships, finance, body clock. Okay.
Well, I'm not going to put in aging out of respect for you, Mark.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought it was... Thank you.
She's on fire.
She is.
So, I got some social changes.
Yes, social changes. What else?
We also brought up the topic of like toilet training children by like limiting the amount. So like the barriers to toilet training would be like reducing the fluid intake before bed and stuff like that if you're a parent. I don't know how you'd word that, but
How about changing in the environment? How about that one?
Yeah.
There's financial.
Adam, you're on mute, mate. Changing the intake volumes.
Yeah.
Climate and weather.
you know, that's making quite some differences.
What was that? Changing the intake volume?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was talking about the child to stop them, but peeing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, that was.
Yeah, but how about climate? You know,
yeah, but then
floods in
that
Brisbane.
could be many things, couldn't it?
Climate? Yeah, could be the climate you live in, climate environment.
Floods, fires, droughts.
But are we actually talking about individual things that make us fear?
But then these
Yeah.
changes, but what are some more of the barriers that could be close to home, that could be more personal, that make it hard for you to accept change?
Oh, insecurity.
Yes.
You're talking about insecurity, depression, anxiety.
Trust in friends, because if you're doing social change, you're doing like it's something out of your comfort zone, and it's not something that you're socially or your friend group, it's not what you're used to in terms of like, okay, moving state, you're gonna start from scratch. So social changes do happen, and sometimes it could affect in a good way and in a bad way.
So that was, I missed the first part. It was employment, was it? Sorry, my thing froze, my internet froze, and I caught the
Trust.
part end of it.
Okay, so I was saying something for environment, social changes would be friends. So
Do we have physical in there? Physical barriers to change?
Yes, yes.
Don't forget mental health.
You got one, Wayne?
There you go. Michael.
Yes, well, in the old days, toilet training, toilet problems to do with children were done with a bedpan.
Yeah.
It was a bed bowl.
Well, what's that?
Sorry, Helen, you've doubled up in the changes to environment. You've doubled up on it. You've just worded it differently.
So let's look at it as two different ways, though.
Okay.
Changes to the environment, as in weather,
and environmental changes.
And the other is environmental change. So it could be around your changes where you are. So you could be moving any room in the house as an environmental change as well.
Oh, sorry. I thought, yeah.
Social aspects. Yeah, let's broaden it out here. So your personal environmental changes change every day, where you go, what you do, who you're with, the environment that's sitting around the setting that you're in. So some of these are barriers. What I find a barrier is distance and around change, when you've had to either move far away or
so that would be
accessing people.
linked with isolation as well.
Mm-hmm. Gabby?
Laurel.
social changes created by government policy can be devastating
Mhm.
to everybody of who you're talking about.
Yeah, like political changes.
No, it doesn't have to be political. It can be
What about
general.
educational?
It can be general social changes
Yeah.
Yeah.
in policy that the government has made.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's the one.
You also got educational changes.
Yes, well, it's interesting you say education. Educational. Look at the changes now that they're actually going to start paying for placements of people doing social work. And I've had the question asked to me by Sagar, does anybody else know what they're going to cover with placements next year? What
Do you know when that's going to roll around?
it's 2025. That's all I know. But does
Can we
anybody else
postpone
know
it?
what career we were talking about here as well? Because I know Sagar brought that up first, and I said, well, I know about social work, but I don't know what else they're doing. Because social work, there's 1,000 hours in in 2 placements there. It's very grueling. It's very taxing when you're still doing full-time work, a full-time study, and you've got to go out and do placement for 500 hours, which is around 4.5, 5 months.
There's also psychology, I think.
Oh, is there? Okay, yep.
Because I think it's also part of the social work aligned in that way.
Yeah, which will be good. We'll have a look at that at the break. All right. What's one of the benefits of change?
Flexibility.
Yes.
Panic.
Panic. That's one of the benefits, is it?
No.
No.
A social change.
She's saying what's a good one? What's a good one of change?
Well, for some people, change can mean instant panic.
No,
because
what's a good one? Asking.
In change.
Yeah. What's a good change? What would be a good change that could happen for people that makes it a positive benefit to be going through the change process?
All right, a good one would be that we get a new government in office that was something like what Australia has needed for a long time, and that's a conservative government where housing is put together for all the thousands of people we have in Victoria on the street, and where the pension, now you might laugh at this, but I'm not laughing, because the pension today should be sitting on $1,600 a week, not a fortnight, a week. Because pensioners have gone under in money for the last 25 years, and it's not good enough. We don't have enough money to pay rent. We don't have enough money, along with paying rent, to buy food, let alone cigarettes at $40 a packet. Generalization to all of that is that we starve we're in misery, and there doesn't seem to be any way out. I congratulate the Victorian public for not going dishonest generally.
Yeah.
I think what would be good for a positive
Yeah.
change is there could be job related, career wise,
Yeah.
housing stability, all those things. But I think what would be a really positive step towards change is mental health and well-being.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
like
Gabby.
the well-being,
Yes.
you know, yeah. Because
Yes.
I know
Why are
my
we here
well-being's not
tonight?
really good.
What are we doing here tonight?
Yeah,
Health and
exactly.
well-being. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Right, you get
exactly.
an A. You picked the big one. Beaver?
Thank you.
Beaver?
Opportunities,
Say that
and
again, Beaver.
we can get, like, opportunities like a better job.
Yes. Which then bring more benefits to your life financially, socially, emotionally. Adam?
Well, it's too late now, but I was going to say personal growth.
Yes, you've just grown about 20 centimeters in height waiting.
But I mean, the challenge that it gives you, it's about reframing the barrier to the possibility of growing, because you have to face that barrier, and you have to make decisions that you wouldn't have made before. So it's forcing upon you to change whether you want it or not. And in that change is the possibility for personal growth. And that can, that's the biggest benefit I see.
And it's such a twofold thing that, stepping into that is scary, fearful. But then with time and being able to do the change, then to be able to look back and go, look at the benefits that I've got now. It changes perspective as well. Ian?
I was gonna say social change to increase your opportunities to socialize and opportunity to, like, have friends that you can have connections, and if you're moving to a new location, you have social change, get to meet new people and make connections.
Yeah. Yes. And new opportunities.
Yeah.
And it can keep going on, can't it? New information, new places to be.
I would also add that education changes. It does, like, it gives you knowledge, and it also change, like, for example, if you study nursing 20 years ago, the changes that has happened over 20 years, and you're increasing your education and knowledge.
Definitely. And that's beneficial in many ways, isn't it? Many ways. Good work. Thank you, Sharon.
Well, I was going to say, like, it gives like a self-esteem and also self-motivation to be able to make a change that can give a motivation to individuals that are able to make changes in their life.
Thank you. Tash?
I don't know if it was covered when I just quickly ducked out, but you can have, like, how you guys were talking about opportunities and benefits. You've also got actual physical health that can be a benefit. So say you just get diagnosed with diabetes and you want to do something about it, you can join a gym or get a PT or see a nutritionist and work on your actual physical health. as a
Yep.
benefit.
And then the benefits of those changes then keep going on because they then
Mentally start feeling better.
yes, that's right. So it builds up. So we can see why these things are important, that we do a holistic approach for sure.
Sorry, I
you.
wasn't sure what was covered when I ducked out.
No, it's all good. We didn't cover that. So, Gab,
Yeah, I just got to say that, also through my experience, but okay, it's I guess applies to highly spiritual people, empaths, and all that. But spiritual people can go through what they call spiritual awakenings, which is basically a spiritual change of homeostasis. So I know that applies to basically people who are spiritual, like-minded, but they can go through, this intrigues me, is that they can go through symptoms that resemble a mental health illness, but actually, like sadly, they've been institutionalized, and that it's not worked. Any medication has not worked. But what has worked is that, well, it's kind of like a yin and yang. And so what they've said is that it's an energetic disorder, which from my experience, definitely. So there are also spiritual changes. So when someone says, I've just had a spiritual awakening, that's a huge change, and it can bring on mental and physical things, but the good thing is that, you come out, you know, totally a better and improved version of yourself,
yeah.
but, I mean, that's only if you're spiritual, yeah. I'd sort of let you know that.
Thank you. It definitely another spectrum of change, isn't it? It's what
Yeah.
people go through for sure. Last one, Tash.
I just wanted to elaborate on what Gabby was just saying. Now, please forgive me. I have been not ignorant is not the right word, but I have been quite oblivious to the First Nations people. It was never a topic that I got taught a lot about. And when I was doing the reading for this particular unit, the spiritual change that Gabby was talking about, it was saying that it can be, in the Western world, be mistaken as a mental health situation, when in reality it's just them going on a walkabout, or is that what the right term is for that? Where they go on their own journey to find their own spirituality.
Gabby, do you want to answer to that?
Yeah, I'm actually not quite sure what that means.
Yeah.
It may mean more up remote country, because like there is a difference between remotely and
Oh, it was
also,
just a link that was on our learner guide. That was, yeah, it was just a document
not
that
like
was like,
dream time or anything.
yeah, that's the dream time. Sorry, that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, and that's spiritual part of the Indigenous dream time.
Yeah, sorry, I'm so
yeah.
sorry. I
No,
didn't
that's
mean
fine.
to.
No, not at all. That's fine. It's I think
It's an
I think
exploration, isn't it, Gab?
yeah, it is.
It's an
Yeah,
exploration, and
definitely.
And when you don't get taught much about it,
Yeah.
you kind of, well, I grew up in a very, not grew up, but my school that I went to primary school was very Catholic, very strict, very, so I didn't learn much about what was around me. And that also
Yeah.
comes down to another factor, which is you've got educational changes, but you've also got schooling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And all these
Absolutely.
things have a big impact in the long term.
Mm.
But think about the biggest change you've done this year, or at the end of last year, that where you all stepped into change. You stepped into studies. So it's been a huge change.
We did.
Changes, awarenesses, knowledge, but comes with knowledge comes change for you as well. So it's ever evolving. All right, 7:10. Let's go for a 10-minute break and come back and see what changes we have when we come back. All right, so just on that placement discussion we were talking about. So $319.50 per week benchmark, which is to the Austudy rate. It will be for education, so teaching, nursing, midwifery, social work, and nursing in vocational education and training courses, vet courses as well. So that could be like a nurse's assistant, things like that through the TAFE. And it's going to be called the Government Prac Payment, CPP.
So do we
And
come under social?
not under this, no, not with this course. And it's not until July 2025. For those who are doing vocational education, this is the private organisation.
Oh, okay.
So you're talking about vocational ed, TAFE, but it's only to do with nursing courses at VocEd. So quite limited at the moment, but it's around the strongest need for that. But they're also the longest placement times out of most of the courses that are run at TAFE and uni. So like I was saying, 500 hours year 3, 500 hours year 4 in social work. Yeah. So $319 a week, but only in those areas. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Let's have a look at motivational interviewing. Now, Gabby, you've done quite a bit of motivational interviewing in AOD, correct?
Yes, I have. That's correct.
How would you find that as a tool to help support people? How do you find, well, two questions. How do you find that as a tool to support someone? And then how do you feel it is, as a case manager, how do you feel that it is a supportive tool for your practice?
Motivational interviewing, it's basically it's kind of in a way like reframing reframing, but you're making the client motivate themselves, you know, by simple questions. You know, for example, someone says, I'm going to turn 55 and I'm not too happy about turning 55. So, you know, sort of, guess you would reframe that into something that motivate the client, where they actually, I think they're sort of, it's I guess it's a difficult one to
It's to change
explain.
their perspective of it, isn't it?
Yeah, change their
Change their
perspective
perspective. Yep.
of thinking
Mm-hmm.
into a positive rather than a negative.
Yes. Wayne?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. When a client talks to you, a client will say all the things that are going wrong in their life. You need to be able to be a good listener and a good comforter.
Yes.
Now, you can use your skills that you have and the motivation of, well, it's a motivation of equipment and people you have working for you and other organizations that also provide answers to your problem. Not to the person seeing the client, but the person who you're interviewing who has problems in their life that they desperately need to be solved. And that's exactly what you do. That's what you're there for.
Or an example could be a client wants to give up smoking and says, I want to give up smoking. You could say, well, what could be stopping you? And then also give them the miracle question. If you woke up the next morning, found out you had no craving for cigarettes, you know, I always believe that I don't know if I'm correct here, but with the motivational interviewing that the miracle question comes along with it, you know,
because you want to evoke desire to change.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Adam?
Welcome.
The thing about MI is that it works hand in hand with the stages of change, the trans-theoretical model, especially in AOD, and evoking the drawing out of the reasoning. It's about finding the discrepancy in the thinking. And I've forgotten the word, unfortunately. Everybody's coming in with reasons why they don't want to change, and there are some reasons why they want to change. And you're trying to draw out the reasons for change. And the way that's done in motivational interviewing, a lot of it's done through reflecting back what the person is talking about, because the open questions, that the idea is that that person is coming up with their own reasons to change. And I'm missing the word that sums this all up in one go. Maybe it'll come to me a bit later. But I mean, it's also about respect and a bit of mutuality. MI is about a non-expert talking to a person who's the expert of their own situation, and bringing that all together to make that person feel not judged, feel at home, you know, empowering, strength-based. All these things are part of MI. You know, it's, I think it's the number one tool that there is for this type of thing, because it's about the spirit of MI, and the spirit of MI is about being there to empower someone to make their own change and giving them the tools to do that change with.
Yeah. Strengthen that motivation to, but it's also about that commitment to doing it as well, isn't it? Like,
that comes up with the evoking, the drawing out of
Yeah.
the reasons. And
Yeah.
then that person will talk themselves into the change. It's not your job to do that. It's their job to come
Yeah.
up with the reasons why they want to change, because that's the only way someone can change, with their own motivation. That's really,
I think part of that too of our job as support is helping have that atmosphere for change as well. So that
and I thought
whole,
interesting was that and of course the names escape me because I can't think properly at the moment, is that they wouldn't have, if they had it over, they wouldn't have changed, wouldn't have called it motivational interviewing, but they would have called it a conversation between two
Yeah.
people. That kind of sums up the spirit of their mind. It's a conversation between two people, coming up with a plan, which is um, which is put in place by the person who wants to change, if they want to change. Because the other part of MI is if someone comes into you and they don't want to change, conversation is over. It's not a fixing type of therapy.
Yeah. Because it's not about getting people to change.
So.
For sure. Ayan?
I would say like giving them the power, because they have the ability to change, but they need somebody to support them in the process of changes, of which you like, if somebody come up to you and be like, I want to change this, they have a motivation of why they want to change. You want to be the encouraged, give them the power of they can do it.
They often, when we look at it, that they already have the power, they have the knowledge. It's just sometimes being able to be helped to see that in a different perspective, because they've got all the tools. They're the leaders of change. They're their own change. And it's about helping them engage with that knowledge and understanding and reconstructing it.
I think in an AOD setting, it'd be like contemplation, pre-contemplation,
Yeah.
I don't know, like that. Yeah.
A lot of people think that it's just, you flip the negative to the positive. It's a whole environment that's sitting around that self-awareness, the discipline that comes from the person who's working and delivering the mode MI. That's easier to say. That's also another facet of it as well, because that, the wide facet of ranges of conversations that you have are good when people can examine the situation and options, and looking at, if some people are stuck in their feelings about and have mixed feelings about change, so hesitancy, pre-contemplation or contemplating, as you say, having the confidence to change too. That's another factor in there. Mark?
Yeah, I was just going to add to what 7 of 9 said there. I mean, Gabrielle. Someone comes to you and they're there to give up smoking. It's helping them see a better life. So can you imagine life without cigarettes? Let's go through some of the things that it enable you to do. Let's talk about the changes in your health. Do you think you'll be able to do this better? Do you think you'll be able to be more comfortable environments because you don't have to go outside and have a cigarette all the time? Let's talk about your pocketbook and how much you can save. And get them moving along a positive channel, and looking at their own positive outcome. Okay, yeah, I can see that, and imagining a life without alcohol, cigarettes, whatever. Yeah,
Definitely. And along with that, no matter what that person is doing, your client, your participant. It's about the person who's doing the work, the using MI, the practitioner per se, about being non-judgmental for a start, no matter what that person's situation is. You are looking at their perspectives and experiences, highlighting strengths, respecting the person's right to make an informed choice to change or not to change. And that's another area where, if we're practicing this, how we do not judge choice to not change as well. As Adam says, a directive client-centered counselling style for eliciting behaviour change by helping client to explore and resolve ambivalence. Ambivalence is
Ambivalence is the word.
Yeah.
Drawing out that ambivalence. Sometimes people don't know that they have that ambivalence. And so when they discuss the reasons why they want to change, you know, especially if they're not in the right frame of mind at first, and they might be saying, well, I don't want to give up smoking, then the MI person would say something along the lines of, okay, I can understand that, but if you were to give up smoking, what would be some of the benefits of that? Then that ambivalence gets teased out. They start answering their own question.
Drawing out the knowledge, drawing out what's already there.
The reasoning.
Yeah. Perspectives, ideas, reasons, the questioning
Motivation.
yourself, for you to be using open questions, helping that person explore something that they already know. It's just seeing it and having it drawn out. They talk about the affirmation of positives around helping build person's hope, confidence in the ability to change, reflections, rephrasing, the way we communicate this for as well, how we summarize things for somebody else, how we paraphrase, and how do we sustain the talk of the language of change in the favor of change talk. So the language of change can be different to change talk, and where appropriate, think about, we're trying to sustain the talk coming through, and the language of change is encouraging, prompting, but change talk is when that's gone into the next phase. The change, I suppose, Gabby, you could put your, the pre-contemplation, contemplation, action. So change talk is the action area. And it's working towards that change, but it has a positive, considered thinking to it, that they can still either go either way here, can be a two-way street for sure. But those processes of the flow of the conversation, moving that backwards and forth, engaging, establishing relationships, careful listening, as we've heard, gaining perspectives, and supporting autonomy as well. Quite crucial there as well. And it also, part of it can be around the planning of how change can support the person. And that can often consolidate some of that commitment from the person who's going through those changes, because when you consolidate that and concrete that for them, and embed it down, their insights take on a different perspective. They're able to see more. Okay. I was just going to say oars. Yep. Oh, gosh. Gosh, come on, computer. Right. Right. Now, assisting the search for professional advice. How do we use motivational interviewing to assist somebody to seek professional advice? How do we turn the points that somebody brings about wanting to change something? How do we use MI to gear it towards referring to professional advice? What spin do we put on this for the participant client? Adam?
No. You beat me to it.
Quite often, one of the techniques that tends to be used is asking the client themselves how they would go about doing this. And again, that's that part of the strength-based part of it. So if you were to give up smoking, how do you think that this would work for you? You know, what would be one way that you could start? And then you can ask. Then you ask if they come up with just a little bit. Then you have to ask permission, and you can say, "Would you be open to some suggestions about quitting smoking?"
Yep.
That's that mutuality part, that respect is in there, because if the person is not interested in changing, you shouldn't be giving advice. That's not part of MI. It's not about giving advice.
No.
But part of ORS that they say is now plus I, which is plus information. So after you've done all of the parts of then you offer information, but you always ask.
And it's that stepping with awareness to just help awareness. Mark?
Yeah, what have you tried in the past?
Mm.
Let's talk about the things that you've done. What attempts have you made? That's assuming we're talking about someone giving up cigarettes or alcohol or drugs or eating or sex. Yeah, what things have you done in the past that have been helpful in some ways? Can you run me through the stuff that you liked about those? Just asking lots of questions. If you ask lots of questions of them, you uncover other stuff as well. Anyway.
But it's putting that situational before. If a professional support, like Adam said, it's posing, what would that be like talking to somebody that might be able to work with you and guide you on, working around, let's say, a mental disorder? What would that be like? How would that look for you in that situation? Then step into talking about. So it's like introducing something. Sharon?
Well, I was just going to add to what my colleagues have said before. Like when we're looking at this motivational intervention, and also when we look at the wheel of change. So basically, we just have to realize or identify the areas that this person is actually sitting on. And from there, we can be able to actually be able to help this person or being able to refer him to the professional. So because actually we have to identify, know that this person is actually ready to be able to make that change. Then we can be able to help him.
Thank you, Sharon. Ian?
I think Sharon has said it, but like I think it's about they're in that stage of where they're open to change. So you be asked, they're already in the act. So you want to get more detail, like if they have tried a service before, how did they feel about it, what was different, and like getting to know the best of like these are the services that are available, and what are your opinion on whether you want to do it, whether you don't want, or like sometimes it's not knowing what's available until you tell someone that, oh, these are the services that are available. Are you interested in trying? And if you were to try, what would be like, have like kind of like, okay, I want to try something new, and would I like it or not? Sometimes it could be, I might like it, I might not. So give them the options of it's available for them.
Yeah, definitely. Gabby?
I think it's also showing, just also generally showing concern. You know, for example, I am really concerned about, well, example, you're smoking or something like that, but generally show that you are concerned and that you want to, you know, hear them out. But, you know, yeah, they may not be ready. They might not be in that mindset. Um, you know, but also, you know, showing them that you do care. And also, yeah, getting their history, you know, and sometimes it may take more than once, you know, so you may find that several chats, that every bit, it's you know, once again, it's like being that detective, that you find clues here and there from, you know, every chat you have, and then you find that, you know, why this person is in either, you know, whatever stage they're in, you know, and so yeah, definitely, it's that detective work again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Detective work.
But I think it's really important showing how much you really are genuinely concerned about the person. Yeah.
And that creates another environment that's easy to work with, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That safe environment.
Yeah.
All right. So some of the other factors that affect somebody's health and well-being, thinking about the overall picture of self-care that we do. Part of the things that a lot of people can do is do the isolation, hold yourself back. And with mental health, that's often feels so much of an easier option than having to always have to repeat yourself to somebody or always have to explain what's going on for yourself. It's enough just going and seeing professional help. But as for family and friends, community, it can cause an emotional state because you withdraw back, you feel alone, you feel unsupported, you feel down, flat, sad. But often isolation and loneliness don't go hand in hand. It's not about those two things together, because people can be living on their own but still engage without being lonely. Lonely is a different sense to isolation. And often we'll do that isolation for self-preservation. But others who can feel alone and excluded have a sense of not belonging somewhere. And that could even be in a crowded room. And it's how different people react to different social situations. for people who live with mental illness and disorders, often that sense of not belonging, the stigma, creates a detachment to everything, that alone feeling, then the fear of being judged, penalized, bully comes in over the top of that. How do you control that? How do we work with isolation? How do we support people to build their social networks to improve that overall health and well-being, especially mental health well-being, and working towards recovery and prevention, and preventing those lapses or a relapse of a mental health symptom? How do we help people with isolation or loneliness? Gabby?
That's a really good topic. I personally, I'm looking for my mob, which is in Dubbo. And so part of researching and everything like that is just researching about, the Indigenous up there and everything. And I was just watching YouTube the other day, and it was a documentary pretty much based on isolation, and lack of care, lack of resources. And, because the government, this is political once again, but, here they are, absolutely, where they're in a community, in Dubbo, an elderly, for elders, traditional Aboriginal elders. They are not getting adequate support by the government, and they are completely lonely and like cut off the world, cut off society. And, me, when I was listening to it, I'm thinking to myself, this is my family. I've got to go up and do something, but I can't because I'm limited as far as resources go. And, it's kind of like they are currently feeling so isolated, and their mental health is really, really struggling. They deal with dementia, and when it's dementia, they don't have anyone to support them, but maybe just one worker a week for about, about 15 of them. So, I think this is where I see that, that political part. And, I mean, it's not just for my race or anything, but it can be for anyone, but, it's a very, I think isolation is a very, we've definitely got to deal with it. Yeah.
Yes, our very remote areas. And we've seen the struggles now with the floods, how people often, they're now getting taken back to their towns that were flooded, but they're in demountable homes, but they're not going back to the homes. There's no chance of going back to the homes. It's totally ruined. So,
where are they?
North Queensland. Right up north near the Gulf. Near the Gulf.
Oh, right. Okay.
Where they all got taken out by Air Force carrier.
Yep.
Because they could only do one flight in and out and do it in a hurry, and they had to use an Air Force carrier that was big enough to take people, animals, people's pets, things like that, livestock, belongings. So they went in for once. People are now allowing to go back to their towns, but still have to have either demountables or caravans that are there. The houses are not fixed. There's still all the devastation from the floods. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
definitely.
Mm.
Thanks for coming, Mark. I'll say good night before you slip out in a few minutes. Now,
Thanks, Hel. Good button then. Yeah, cheers. Good night, everyone. I've got to go.
okay, take care. Bye. So in talking about that isolation, that loneliness, how do we help people with their social networks? How do we build a protective factor around that to help people have the skills to do that? Firstly, checking with them, do they want to? Because don't forget, people can be isolated by choice as well. And it's not so much about loneliness, it's about I'm keeping myself, that's my choice. So we need to check with that. But how do we find those resources? How do we know what we can tap into in our own areas? Do you know your services in your local area within a 20-kilometre radius? That's if you live in suburbia. So, quick activity, groups of 2, make a list of at least 5 things that are community-based that you might be able to give the information to a participant that you work with, so they might be able to choose from these that might suit them about wanting to be more social if they've expressed the desire to want to meet. What are some agencies, organizations that you could suggest as a referral? So let me just press stop share there. Just give me the type of service that you found. What type?
Okay, so you've got a mental health service
Mm-hmm.
that ranges from adolescents to adults.
Yep.
You've got a food share, which is like a food bank sort of thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then you've got disability community-based programs where they learn life skills.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also got a school for adolescents that are struggling to cope in normal school, and it gives them some form of education or some form of certificate, but it's not mainstream school.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, plenty there. What about you, Ian?
I don't know much about Canberra, but there's food bank of at work it's at work community or something like that. They do like have program of like, I think it's they sell second food bite or something like that. So food that, but in a cheaper price. So that could be like it start from frozen meals all the way to diapers, kid supplies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also an ACT Leisure. They do run some program regarding it's not specifically, but like it's age appropriate from maybe I don't know specifically, but it goes to 65 plus.
Yeah.
And you come in like they do run programs like Wednesday and Thursday they do run food cooking. So they teach you how to cook your meals and how to budget and stuff like that. There's also a program called that was ACT Ledger. There's another program for kids, specifically for kids that are in the disability sections of need. So they do run program for education. So they do up skills and stuff like that. That's to help them with homeworks.
Yeah.
That. But apart from mental health breakdown sort of thing, there's only Canberra, University of Canberra that I know that do have special care for like, or special referral.
Yeah.
Not much of like in the adolescent kind of, they
Yeah.
know refer them to New South Wales. That's pretty much all I have for now, but I don't know.
That's good. Thank you. It gives us a bigger spectrum of what's going on there, what you can access for support for people.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got, let's go, Sharon.
Well, I just came in here, so I don't actually know anything about Victoria. But anyways, but actually I googled the CAT team, the crisis assessment and treatment team. So they basically assist mental health crisis, and also they can also refer help individual with individual that needs, that in crisis, they can help them. They can refer them to doctors, hospitals, emergency department, or any community service that suits their needs.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. You're learning.
We have that in Albury Wodonga too.
Adam, what is, I want to hear your perspective, you know, in where you are. How different is this going to look, or is it similar?
The area that Gabby took down a lot of stuff, but one of the areas that I think is really good when we're talking about isolation specifically is online forums. You know, for instance, SANE has a really good setup of different forums to talk about different issues, and especially if you're isolated regionally as well, online offers, or you know, physically, it offers a really good opportunity to work through some isolation issues. So I find them quite interesting.
And from the pandemic around the world, I think more was created to fit the needs of people as well. But the benefits is accessing these at any time for a start.
Yeah.
And if we choose to stay isolated, we don't have to be, we're isolated maybe in our environment, but not in our social world. Look at us all here. Yeah. I'm the only one where I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I certainly am where I am.
So that perspective, you know, like by choice, you can be alone. It doesn't mean that you're isolated from everything. So around that terminology as well.
And
Gabby,
I think
did you?
Sorry, just one quick. Timing is also important. Often with mental health issues, sleeping and timing are different things. So if you happen to be not sleeping well and it's 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning and you need to talk, you know, some of the forums are 24/7, and that's another thing you can't do in person. So yeah, that's all.
Yes, that is true. Those 2 o'clock mornings where the head's going round, ruminating, all these things, being able to have a chat. That's true. Very true. Gabby?
Yeah, we got youth projects located in Melbourne. They are for people who it's a health centre for homeless. So they can access health, doctors and so forth. Go have a shower, whatever. So that's located in Melbourne CBD, but they've got places all around Melbourne, suburbs.
Yeah.
And we also do have the St Kilda Crisis Centre 24 hours. So That's needle exchange program, as well as homelessness. If you need a place for the night, only they're going to give you like one night. But and then Wayne also mentioned, I know I put Melbourne City Mission, but Wayne also said Salvation Army, as in, yeah, they can help for, they are a cafe overnight, so try to keep people as safe as possible, but
Yeah.
it's a cafe in Melbourne CBD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's some good work out there, isn't there?
Well,
There is some
I
good
don't
work.
know about being a good workout, but
But they're out there. The
yeah,
cafe's open at night at least.
yeah.
It's somewhere to go to be
Mm.
out of that weather, or
I think it was a lot better before COVID. With COVID and the lockdowns, there was a huge impact on all these services, yes. Yeah.
Thanks, Gaps.
Okay.
Ian?
Sorry to, but like, I think in my community, we do have something called drop-in support. So it's not program it's not like funded or anything. We just go in and check on the elderly, those that can't speak English. So we do go in, check on them, and I think once a week or like somewhere there, they do have like a Zoom, like catch up and like just community outreach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love that. All run by volunteers.
Yeah. So it's mostly like it's church program, but like people that can't understand English, we do come in and help in that way.
Oh, love that. Love communities getting out, helping community. Good work. All right. 8:19. Gosh, the time flies. 10 minutes.
We also forgot Adam's Fluffy. Fluff the cat. Where is he, Adam?
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful. He is gorgeous.
Oh gosh.
He would be a great all-nighter to
Yes, around your shoulders, nice and warm.
Oh yes. And just great company. Great company. I find animals very therapeutic.
Yes, Gabby.
Yeah, well.
My ones go for the feet. I have scars all over my feet. And they're big and they have long claws, and they think it's just great to play with feet.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to, whoops. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know where that's come from. Just going to get the accelerate. Tash, do you mind if I open your assessments so we can see a new?
Yeah, go for it, because all I've done is just open it.
We don't have any, there won't be any of your information on it. It'll just be the assessment part, but
yeah, no, that's perfect for me, because that way I know what I'm doing.
Sorry, Helen. It says here I'm following Alan.
Sorry?
It says I'm following Alan. It just came up. I don't know what that means. It says you are following Alan.
Okay.
It just came up. It just went funny, didn't it?
Yeah.
It said you were following Alan.
Well, Okay. Because the whiteboard
Lucky
came up
you.
too before, and I don't know what that was about either.
Says follow back,
Um,
and I'm just like,
Oh, the whiteboard was
Helen,
me.
oh, it was you, huh? Am I following you?
Right, I'm just bringing up the assessments now.
Okay.
It's MHS011, isn't it? Yes. Okay. Right, now let me just pull this out here. Right, so we can't look at these because there's questions in task 1.
It's all right. You can. I don't mind.
No, but they'll have the answers in them, so I can't show them.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, the only
yeah,
ones that
okay.
I haven't done are task 3 and 4.
Right, so if I bring up A and 1, it'll be the lowest. Right, I'm just going to stop sharing. I'll go and get to a different screen. And okay. Alrighty, now I can go back here. Oh, just screens. Right, let me have a look. Right, so this is social and emotional well-being. So first of all, that's a lot of, this is your area A, and we're talking about. So task 1 is 1 to 19 of questions. If you open up, you can open up those 3 bars there to show the questions. Let's have a look at some. Why should you respect anti-discrimination laws and human rights? Now the Prochaska and diclements, pardon me, are in your, sorry, I'm burping as well as trying to speak, in your stages of change model are in your learner guide. So some of these social issues here around inclusion, living with mental illness, how does that impact well-being? We've been talking about quite a bit of that tonight as well.
Question 8 and question 9, I personally found a little bit difficult, so maybe that might be a good one to show.
Explain the importance of each area to one's physical well-being,
So
good nutrition and food security.
For the self-care style opportunity and information part, I had to get an LSO to help me with that one.
So self-care style opportunities and information. So how would you do self-care? Where would you get information from for these?
Why wouldn't they just write it like that? mean, it's a
Just
silly way to
the
phrase a
wordings.
question.
Yeah, that was what got me. Oh, that's what threw me off whack.
Mm. Self-care style opportunities,
I mean, it's not a
self-care.
question. Comprehensive health checks. That's not a question. That's a statement.
Explain the importance of each area to one's physical well-being.
So I got told to just ignore the word style.
Style, yeah. And that's what I think that they're talking around, you know, like when they say style, they're talking around when you start to talk about natural therapies, different types of mindfulness, you know, mind, body and soul type therapies. There's a style about those.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can link the
Holistic,
word style
as an
in there.
example.
Sorry?
As an example, holistic. Holistic as an example. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Now, what was the other number?
It
9,
was
wasn't it?
also, I think it was 10. Yeah.
So what is the purpose of the National Framework for Recovery?
I
So
think it was the second part B.
what guidance does the National Framework Recovery Health Service provide in relation to dignity of risk and supporting self-management?
Like I had
So
to go on the internet to get that information.
yes, you probably will. You go and open up this National Framework for Recovery and go do your Control F and look for dignity of risk and see what it says in that document.
Yeah.
Do the instructions in the beginning here tell you to even go and look for that?
I'm not sure, but the LSO told me to just Google it.
Yeah, that is not in the instructions there. So yes, it's Google that, of course. Definitely.
Sorry, I just thought if I had issues with it, other people would have had issues with it too.
Yep, definitely. But yes, you do. There are some things in questions that will not be in your learner guide, or they could be a link that's there. Now, let's have a look at this. I just want to check why there's so many circles here. That's okay. So these are placement projects, Ian. So if you can see where I'm hovering over, you can actually see
they also might be doubling up, Helen, because I had that same assessment that you just opened up then. I had twice on my portal. So I had to get the IT department to remove one of them.
Okay, so that's a clustered assessment that's a placement project. You can see it's CHYTH011, 03,
I've got that
010,
too.
and 011. So that's what you'll do on placement, which they don't normally add to this. This is a placement project as well. So you won't be doing that yet.
Also, the last two ones we don't actually have to do.
Not yet until you're on placement.
Okay.
Because let's have a look.
Helen.
Just yes,
Yeah, I got 7 of these, the same assessment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They doubled up.
Oh, okay. Yep. 3 clients living with mental health. Client report. Yeah, so this is for when you're on placement. So what by the looks of it, you have to have 3 clients that you're working with See down here, employed at service or beyond work placement.
So why are they showing that now?
And that's why I'm going to question that, because that should not be there now.
I have one placement project and 6 of the same assessment repeating.
6 of the same. Okay. Well, then we can't use yours to show observation. That's an observation checklist. Observation
I've got-
checklist.
Yeah, I've got 2 placements on my screen.
Yep. Okay.
I
need
have
to
a role play twice.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go out of
Study.
there and go somewhere else's.
Questionnaires twice. So
Right. Okay. Let me just bring up.
there's T1 out of 4.
Right. Let me see. Zero, 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 zero. 001 011.
Have 2 questionnaires. One
Okay,
case
so
study.
Adam's already finished his. Who here hasn't finished their?
Fine.
I think we finished ours, both me and Wayne, but just check it, Helen, if that's all right.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring up something that the older one and the new one, and I'm not getting. Let me.
I don't mind if
Try
people
Salem.
see my answers.
Yes, but I can't show answers. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Right, I'm going to try this now. So this is really a messy, and I'm really sorry that this is happening here, but it looks like there's quite a few. Okay, so Selim's actually has the same, and there's going to be a reason for this, because it's either doubled up on their release of subjects. All right, so we have, that's the first lot of questions.
Yep.
Task 1. Task 2, see, that's a double of the first one.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I had.
Yep. Okay, so then we have task 2, and it's your case studies. So let's open that up. So you have, let's have a look at the instructions first. It's not going to bring up anything. So you have case study Jane, and she's looking at different diets, and she's working with a support worker, Darren, and they're suggesting having a look at different sites, because she's quite taken with this one that's only $10 through direct debit, and it's a personal cleansing guru online.
But it's
Is this
every
safe?
contact.
Is this the new questions or the old ones? I've already done this
New.
case study at one of the
I've
early
actually
courses.
done this.
Yeah,
I've
it's
done
similar.
this one.
It's similar to what you and Adam have already done, Gabby.
Yeah.
Yep. So you have questions here. Then you have questions. What aspects of the cleansing diet appeals to Jane? What concerns might Darren have about the scheme? So think about the validity. Is it a good option for her, Jane, to do? What are ways that can be met without paying to go join the scheme? What else could you suggest? This is quite using logic here. around sensible choices for these people. So scenario 3 is Carol is 89, lives in the community, polio, but she's chronic with back pain. She smokes and drinks alcohol, and she doesn't eat alone much, and she doesn't have much nutritious food. Her meals are usually frozen food packs from the supermarket, and quite often she throws them out. Now they're going to be asking questions about her health and well-being. 2 potential health risks that Carol would, how would you explain and encourage Carol to seek professional advice? So we just
I've
seen that
actually done this one,
identified.
Helen.
Yeah, well, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Good on
Yeah,
you.
I've done these as well.
So how can you identify when Carol's last health check was undertaken? Think about asking the client here, the participant. You might have to think about how would you ask somebody to find out about their health information? Think about that. What do you need to do to be able to do that on somebody's behalf? Think about your privacy and confidentiality, consent here. Then you'll have Vanessa, who's unemployed and experiences depression. She goes and buys takeaway food and cigarettes. She doesn't talk to anybody. She doesn't talk to the person she lives with in the room. She's not very happy with that. She likes to go to the bookshop, but a security guard accused her of stealing, so he told her to go away. So Vanessa talks to her sister on the phone, but Vanessa discourages her, so she's isolating herself here. And she's cranky with her mother because her mother stopped giving her money for cigarettes. Think of the 2 factors that indicate that Vanessa is socially isolated. How has Vanessa been socially excluded? Think about the library. What's happened here?
So
That's it.
if I've done this in AOD, can I get a credit transfer? If not
I'll
done?
check your file in a minute, Gabs, but you'll probably
Yep.
find it's already been
Okay.
taken over.
All right.
But
So
I've done
that-
this at
Yeah,
the beginning
yours
of
is all
Yeah.
yours
I
is
don't
all
get it.
completed.
Is it? Okay.
So yours is, I just saw yours, Adam, it's all done.
So
But
I
you're
had trouble
probably,
with P3.
yeah, so let's try and find that. Now this is the role play. Just bring it up.
You're not.
You are required to complete an assessment of a client using resources available. The purpose of this task is to allow you to identify strategies and resources that you can assist someone with, okay? So you have to go in and find the client assessment template, and then you will gather that information to have a meeting with someone.
Okay, so is
let's
that
have a look
the
at,
blue, is that the purple document or the orange one?
well, let me bring them up. Client assessment template. Let's have a look at that.
So that's a purple one.
It's probably not gonna let me, no, it wants me to download. Let me just check. So that's what your client assessment template looks like.
Yep.
And you'll fill in these areas here, describe the information and resources that you need to explain social and emotional well-being, holistic approach like Gabby was talking about, describe other information that you can gather, that you can, for people that can be contacted. Professional advice is down here. You'll see further down, professional practice. This is about your practice. What strategies will you use to collaboratively work with the client to identify strengths? So collaborate means that conversation that you're having and sharing and understanding and sharing knowledge here.
So we
So
just
let me-
make things up, or like,
No, you take it out of the scenario.
okay,
And you take it out of your learner guide, your practices that you use to
We
work
should
with
have all gone
people
together.
and strength-based.
okay,
Look for the practices that you would use to support somebody.
yeah,
Think about person-centered, think about strength-based, think about unconditional positive regard, think about helping that person giving them information so they can make choices. Offer lots of different information around resources. This is why we want you to explore, why we explored resources.
yeah.
All right,
And
so
then
let me,
part B, we have to do another role play.
no, hang on, I haven't finished yet, Tash. So you'll have case notes with down here as well. So you click on that and you will have case notes that you will use as well. Now, these case notes help you with Jane. These case notes are a guide. She wants a sense of independence and autonomy. She wants to connect with others with similar experiences. So this is Jane you're working with who has an accident.
Yeah.
And Jane had an accident when she was skiing. But she likes to do all these things, but that's what she did before, but now she isn't. She's presented after it was a car accident, not a ski accident, and she has a spinal cord injury. So she's in a wheelchair now for mobility, and she's struggling to adapt to that. And the impact of that injury has made her feel isolated.
Okay,
Hence
so
why we were talking about, hence why we were talking about isolation. Think of those things about resources to re-engage in the community, but in a way that will be able to support Jane. She was very interested in sports before. Who's to say that she could not do disability sports? So there's a new way. This is a hint here. All these activities that Jane was doing, there's different ways to be doing things that she can re-engage with what she knows, but it'll look different now. But this is another form of giving her some resources and choices. Right, so let's go back to here. We've gotten to that part. There's Jane's story. You upload those files here.
So we use the orange document to help fill out the purple document.
Jane, yes, you've got Jane's here. You need your template to then use your case notes. So it's like a, so say you've taken over their case, somebody would hand you the case notes of what's been on this new client.
Yep.
So when you go to when you're working in a service and especially in working with supports with a complex situation like this, you all a client or a participant comes with case notes. So you have a history to go by, and that's what you're working off for Jane in here.
Okay.
So just to understand, so we're kind of making a plan for James. Okay.
Yes. So you're helping them to see, you're the case manager here,
Okay.
and she's been referred to you to assist with delivering collaborative well-being support. So collaboration means in collaboration with Jane, the case manager, maybe her support people. You up here, you see she's got a supportive partner. So in collaboration with that partner as well, you haven't asked her any questions yet, but during your interview, you could ask, do you have friends or family that will support you to do different activities? Remember here, this is somebody who's new to a wheelchair, so getting in and out of cars, being able to have an adaptive car that should eventually, some people can drive and some people can't, but who's doing that and supporting her? Has she got support workers? Has she got a physiotherapist? Has she got an occupational therapist? So think about occupational therapy in the sense that Jane's learning to live differently. An occupational therapist will help you see how you live in your environment and the best way to do things. And I think this one's a little bit different to what Adam and Gabby did. You had the first few cases, but not this one.
It is different because,
Yes.
I can't remember the accident or anything.
Yes, no,
Oh,
this
never
wasn't
did see this
one in yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with you working with Jane, for everybody who's doing this assessment, think about what resources and information you can get to help Jane see that there is hope, there is a place for her to be a part of community. She's feeling uncertain about her future. She does have a supportive partner. More than likely, she'll have medical intervention in place, so a physiotherapist. All these people can be a part of a collaborative approach. This is all about recovery orientated practice. This is about moving towards hope and a better way of living. Yes, Tash?
Oops, sorry. That was part A. And then you've got part B, which is another role play, I'm assuming.
Now, this is to complete the task, you'll need to have these templates down here. So first of all, you need to go to here.
Yep.
First access EduWorks.
Yep.
Can you see that, Ian? You click on that link and it'll take you to what they call EduWorks, and it's a fake website that mimics what the Australian Community Workers Association would look like. You have to go to the staff login and use your Hader Institute name and Hader 123456 password. The resources will come up, and this is what you are looking for. You are looking for a DR3 privacy and confidentiality policy, an SC8 assessment policy, and a T3 consent. Now there's a search bar when you first go into first access, And it's easy to be able to copy and paste these, and I will show you what it looks like. Right, so this is your first access website. Let me just adjust this. Aren't you glad you finished this, Gabby and Adam? Your staff.
Yeah, I am.
So this is your staff portal. You use your username, sorry, your password, header 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and log in.
It usually will remember you the first time, so the next times you have to go through,
Yes,
you won't
can
have
actually
to go through that. I don't know.
No, it can press save that part. So in here, this search
Yeah.
bar, I find is the easiest way to go. That's T3 consent. And now it's not going to bring it up. Policies, the T6. Scroll down again to the bottom. And there's your T3. So when you do that search bar, come down the bottom of this page. And you'll see that, and you can download that. Let's get back out of here. So once you gather your documents, and it's wise to go in and gather these documents first before you start your assessment. Bring everything in together.
Sorry, Helen. The T3, was that the CC T3?
T3, consent to collect and share information.
Yep, CC T3. Yep.
Yeah, it was just that they just have crazy names. CC, but as you
long as
put
it
in, Helen.
says, yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it says consent to collect and share information.
Yeah.
Because with Jane, you have to be able to share her information with referrals.
Yeah.
Or could be to the OT, occupational therapist, pain management. Think about these things that she's living with. Now, you will need another person to play the role of Jane. You are the case manager here. And here's down here in blue is your role play instructions. This is what it looks like.
Oh, so it's like the other
B. Yep.
Like the old other unit.
So part B, yep, brings it up. So this is you can use the following points, talking points to assist you. You're the case manager. Right, so these are evidence of what's happening for Jane. She's had the accident, she's been experiencing chronic pain, struggling with the loss of independence and the impact on her relationships. Everything this woman has known has changed. Openness, empathy, understanding. Think about those things that you're doing. So everything is here around the background, the notes that they want you to be working towards. Here's your goals. She has faith. She has a range of emotions. What counseling services are supporting her? Remember, also for somebody in this position, grief and loss. Why grief and loss? Gabby, why would you access grief and loss for Jane?
I guess it's because for Jane, she's lost what she once had, which was the movement of her legs.
Yes.
She's gone through a traumatic experience, so she's had a life-changing event, I guess you could say, you know.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
So part C, this is the person that plays Jane for you. Right, so this gives that person an idea of what Jane will be feeling. So that gives, if you've got somebody else to play that role for you, that's great. If you don't have access to anybody to help you play those roles, you can reach out to your peers here, or you can reach out to a trainer, and a trainer across the board could play Jane for you. Yes, Tash?
You've also got in task C an evaluation template.
Yep, we're coming back here now. Let's go over here. Now we've just been working with that client. Here's your review. You have an evaluation template here to go to download as well. For this task, before you step into it, this is why it's important if you go in and open up the whole lot, have a look through every page. What do I need to collect? Just like a recipe, there are lots of bits and pieces here. Go in and collect everything and put it into a folder ready for when you're coming to these sections. Then you're not stopping and starting once you get into it. I need to now go back and get this. I need to now go back and get this other policy. Go in, open it all up, spend an hour and just bring everything back out and put it into a folder. Collect all your role play instructions.
Would it be handy to print them all out?
If you've got a printer and do that, it makes a lot more sense. You can actually, if you're going to do handwritten notes, they must be very neat, but you can actually take a JPEG picture of that and upload that as well. So we're looking for, how did you review the strategies? What plans did you put in place? How are you practicing cultural improvements? So that's around the person's faith as well. Recognize and celebrate new directions and strategies that you're going to be putting in place or have already put in place and it's making a difference. No longer than 10 minutes, MP4 format, or use Zoom and record it on Zoom. And then once you're finished the role play, you will then upload that recording here along with your evaluation. And here, well, I can't even find it now. Review. Where is it? I can't bring it down now. There'll be a place for you to put the evaluation. I think it's just down in here. I can't get my screen to go down any further. All right, let's have a look and see where we are now. So that was task 3 of 4. Let's go and find task 4.
Sorry, Helen, just one quick question.
Mhm.
When I did my role play for the other unit,
Mhm.
one of the other trainers, I said to her I couldn't compress it to 10 minutes or under, and she said that as long as it's within 20 minutes, it should be fine.
Okay, so if it's in 20 minutes is probably too long.
Okay.
10 to 15 at the most, but usually around 10 should be enough.
Okay.
If you want to
cool.
go a
Can I
little bit
just
longer,
interrupt for a minute about the role plays? Sorry, Helen. Just that I know I was having trouble with the same thing. Do it in like a mobile phone format, which is you can do it at the format of 740, which is like a really quick format. But it seems to work.
I'll do it on computer.
Not you. But you know, those who are finding it hard that can't get, but you know, you're right, Helen, 20 minutes is too long. But I used to do it in big, large format, and it was just, it wouldn't accept it. You know what I mean? So if you do the format at 740p, that's like a mobile phone format.
yeah,
It will work. Yeah. I just had
and
to learn the hard
that's
way.
yeah, because that's your MP4 format.
That's right. Yeah.
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 If you're using Zoom,
Mm.
you can record this to the cloud. So you can open up your own Zoom account, organize a recording, and then when you save it, it says save to computer or save to cloud. If you save to the cloud, you will get an email sent to you with a link to open that recording. You can actually copy and paste that link and put it on a Word document and upload that into where the video is supposed to go, because you won't be able to upload the assessment unless you put something in that box. So if you put the link on the Word document, name it, task 3, blah, 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 Jane, recording, CHCMHS011. When you upload it, there's a little space in the box for any comments above in the assessment area. You can say recording link on Word document in uploads.
Okay.
That way the marker goes in and goes, oh, they've got a link on a Word document. We just have to copy and paste that, pop that in our URL, and it opens up. If it's a downloaded format, it takes so long to download on your computer to start with, let alone when we get at our end. If it's not opening in 2 minutes, it's going to get sent back.
Okay.
Is it
Okay, so that's,
okay on Zoom? What I usually do, and you know what I
it's
did
so
the
much,
recent one with Wayne was
yeah,
oh sorry, yeah, the recent one I did with Wayne. I just downloaded it to computer, but it was sort of like compress the Zoom
yeah,
first, so the file had to be compressed,
yeah.
and then I had to close the Zoom itself, and then you could
And then it
upload it.
goes, yeah. So
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
using Zoom as well,
yeah.
your recording will not go until you close the room.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
All right. And then a few minutes later, you'll get an email with a link to that recording. Now you can either download that and use that as your submit, or you just copy and paste the link and put it on a Word document and put it in where the uploads go. There's another option here too, that if you record on Movie Maker per se, because a lot of people have that on their phones or computers, you can actually open up a YouTube account, which is free. You upload your video into that, it'll give you a YouTube link. So then when we open up the Word document, we've got a YouTube link, copy and paste, pop it in the URL, it comes straight up in YouTube.
But with
And it's
that one
only-
unlisted,
Sorry?
unlisted. Put
Yeah,
it
so
in the category
yes,
unlisted.
yes, and it goes in your own private
Yeah,
list of recordings on your own
Yeah.
YouTubes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So only the person with that link can actually access.
Mm.
It asks you about access, but that's another way to use it as well. If you've done it in a Movie Maker, which is not acceptable, there is also in your, let me go back out of here and in the Learner portal, there's student resources to how to record yourself in Zoom. You should have recording role plays. Here's a link to that on how to record as well, to give you some ideas on that as well. So you can access these in that portal as well. So let's go back to task 4.
Which I'm assuming is exactly the same, just another case study.
So this is case notes for Peter. You have a client assessment template. This template will be filled out by you. Collect all your evidence here. Collect your case notes on Peter. Here are your task requirements. You have a template provided that you will guide you in the information you're required to gather, and that be used in your client meeting part B. Here is your scenario. You are a case manager for First Access, and Peter has been referred to you. You have to complete the client assessment for Peter, and that will be uploaded in here. Following that assessment, back to accessing First Access here. Same type of forms that you've already downloaded. So if you've already downloaded them, that's great. You don't need to do it a second time.
Okay.
Because you're not submitting these, you're using them for information. I gained consent by using the T3 consent and collection share that Peter signed. Here's your role play instructions here. Having another person playing Peter.
Sorry, Helen. So
Yeah.
in the role play, so basically you don't really need the consent, but you just need to mention it in the documentation note.
You might even have a form for consent.
Okay.
Right, so that might be you signing for Peter. It's making up that Peter has signed it. It's just about the processes. You learn the processes, how to follow those.
Okay.
So if that says gain consent, you have to find the consent form for him. Because if you're going to share somebody's private information, you have to gain consent first.
But do
And
we
they
have
have
to
to sign a
actually,
form before you can share that with another professional. Yes, Tash?
Do we actually have to upload the consent form as well, or just mention it? I think that's what AR was.
Yeah, there should be
Because the template's exactly
privacy.
the same.
Yeah, there it is. Look, your T3 consent to collect and share information. When you go and
Base.
download that, is there a consent form in that?
I'm just looking now.
If not, it'll tell you the processes that you must follow to gain consent.
Oh yeah, there is actually. There
Thank
is a
you.
consent form.
Yes, there is. So this is why I want you all, everybody, when you're doing this assessment, take your time and unpack it. Go in, as we've just seen, seeing that there is a policy on consent. Is there a consent form in it? Yes, there is. You wouldn't have known that if you hadn't gone in and opened it. You would have just went, oh, I can't see one here. There's no template written in blue. This is the reason why we want you to take this extra care, because if you were out in the field as a worker, you would have to access these through your organization. And you would have to know how to use these policies to support your work with your participant. You're safeguarding their safety, their rights, consents, privacy, access to supports.
And it covers your butt.
And you must follow procedures. Because what we're looking for here is real world application. When you apply these tools here, this is exactly what you were doing out in the field. This is how we can mark you off from your visual, your role plays, how we can mark it off to the industry standards and expectations here of the RTO, Registered Training Organisation. This is why it's important for you to go in and open these up and have a look. Concerning privacy and confidentiality, especially for Jane, there's a lot of private information that's going to be shared for Jane to specialist supports, but that's her information going out again. Is there a way to protect that information when it does go out? Find out that. And that's the point of you opening up these policies and having a look at them. I don't mean for you to read them word for word, but have a look what it says that you must do for your participant to ensure their safety, privacy, confidentiality. Okay?
I think privacy and confidentiality is very important in today's society.
So
But,
you're doing a role, sorry.
So yeah, unfortunately, you get a lot of people that don't go by the privacy and confidentiality. You know, you hear people talking on the trams and going, "Oh, didn't know such and such did this and did that," you know, and they don't realizing they're breaking confidentiality. You know, so it's really important, yeah, that we learn it.
It is very much so. We hold the responsibility, the duty of care to do this. So in your assessment instructions, you will have what the assessor is looking for. Do look at this. We're looking for how you discover that person's strength. So this is when we say working from a strength-based practice framework, person-centered. Have you discussed all this information? Have you gained permission? How are you encouraging wellness? How are you using motivational interviewing here to promote wellness? So when it asks you about what skills did you use, think about using your motivational interviewing here as well. With all these, and there's a lot of work there, take your time to unpack each one. Take your time, read it through. If you can print them out, that's great. If not, follow where you can do highlighting on those forms online as well to see where you're at. But just take your time, unpack them. If you're unsure, book a Calendly appointment with a trainer right across the week. Reach out to one of your learner friends here, your peers, and reach out. You can reach out and ask me questions as well. All right, so for our new learners, my emails, will you two stop misbehaving? I'm watching you. I'm not looking at you, but I know what you're doing.
Resistance is futile, Helen.
Right, there's my email. I am for to ask questions, and for our learners at home.
I thought it was Borg at Hayter Institute.
For all our learners out there, you can email me at helen@hayterinstitute.edu.au, not at Bald Institute. Thank you very much. We're going to mute Gabby very soon, and
Or you will be assimilated.
I'm going to mute you right now. I'm going to do it. Oh dear. All right. So think about unpacking everything before you start. It can look big, but I can tell you once you unpack it, gather your resources first, sit there and discuss it, talk it out, make a plan of what you're going to do. Step it through. Reach out for support. It's there. Reach out to a peer. You can have a study buddy from your classroom. If you want to do that, you can. And if you want somebody to do role plays with you and you're working from online and need somebody to do it, reach out to me and let me know. But you can do this. Just do it one step at a time. Okay. Thanks everybody for attending. I'm just going to sign off now. So don't forget Calendly appointments for trainer support. You can email me at helen@hayterinstitute.edu.au. And you can also make contact with your peers. If you need that, we can help you do that as well. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Night, Helen.